Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? And whenever I say faithful, I mean it because this was awful. This was terrible. The 49ers lose not one, not two, but 3 consecutive games. And, let's be honest, we're talking Super Bowl. We're talking best roster in the NFL. All that to come out here, drop 3 in a row. This is not a good football team the past 3 weeks. And so, Clayton, I want to make sure we hear every single person that has an opportunity to talk. I want to get your, comments. This was terrible. And I'm not quite sure, where exactly the blame lies. I have a lot of suggestions. Nicholas Bosa, where are you? Where are you? The funniest thing was when the first series happened and the Bengals were on offense, they did not double team Nick Bosa once. Second series didn't double team Nick Bosa once. Third, it was just so clear. The Bengals' entire offensive strategy was single Nick Bosa, double team Hargrave, and we'll live with the results. Nick Bosa lost every single rep. The bull rush was good, and I know a lot of people are going to come for Steve Wilkes and, appropriate. I'm not upset with that. Nick Bosa's getting quarterback money and lost probably 40 reps, one-on-one. The argument that Nick Bosa's getting double-teamed and chipped, you have to bury that. That does not exist. Second half against the Vikings today, that dude got run. And then on top of that, let's talk about the offense. Everybody keeps talking about the defense. Did the 49ers only have 10 points halfway through the fourth quarter? What does that have to do with the defense? I'm sorry. I don't know. So the blame deserves to go around. Clayton, I want you to run the chat, and let's put up some questions here.
Yeah,
but,
I've got one right off the bat from Bobo.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, I've got one right here from Bobo. Thank you for the super chat. He writes that this team is a joke. Kyle, he's choked again, just like he always does. And it really did feel like from that very first Bengals possession, John, that this team just had a defeated attitude, and they carried that throughout the entire game.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, there he goes. But really, it was really just defeatism throughout the entire game, and it's sad, and it's just not what I think we expected coming into this week. At least for the last 2 weeks, it felt as if the Niners had a chance. There he is. But it really did, John. No, it's okay. It happens. That's just the nature of live broadcasting from stadiums. But John, I was saying to the people, at least in these last 2 weeks, it felt like the Niners were at least hanging around, though they had made mistakes, both execution-wise and scheme-wise. But this week, it felt like from that very first Bengals possession, they were defeated. It never felt like it never felt like they thought they were in the game. What do you think?
The opening drive, you get out there, you get 8 yards on a CMC, outside stretch run play. CMC gets blown, or Kyle Juszczyk gets blown up. Kyle Shanahan was not in his bag at any point in the game. No. And the things that worked, as soon as you got in the red zone, you would put Elijah Mitchell in. Okay, I love Elijah Mitchell, but every single play Elijah Mitchell was in the game the past not 1, but 2, but 3 weeks, bad things happen. And I know one of the Purdy interceptions happened when he was in there. Elijah Mitchell was open. But it's anytime 25 came in the game, terrible things happen. 3 consecutive weeks in a row. Meanwhile, Jordan Mason, 0 snaps.
What's up with that? What's up with that, John?
You keep
Come on.
Shanahan loves Elijah Mitchell so much, he's willing to lose games. That's the point we're at. And I probably shouldn't have done this, but like I tweeted out, like, how do we get a beat reporter to ask about Jordan Mason instead
We
of
got to get
Halloween
you on the.
costumes or whatever?
Yeah, I think
I don't want to
really.
be that guy. But
Yeah, I feel like we've got to get you on the beat, John. That's the only way it's going to happen. And it's sad that it
I'm
comes
a
down to
fan.
that.
I don't want to be a reporter.
No.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you there.
But it's not working.
You look at
yeah.
No, nothing is working. Special teams was terrible. Like Jake Moody tried to sabotage the team late, kicking the ball out of bounds. They saved us. Yes, he made his field goal, so that's a plus. But kickoff, we lost. Kickoff return, we lost. Punt, we lost. Mitch Wisnowski gets a terrible kick, gets a great bounce. Ambry Thomas grabs it before it keeps rolling like 10 more yards. Like, this 49ers team is finding ways to lose games over finding ways to win games. There were so many points in this game where if the Niners just hit a switch, they'd be back in it. We were down 14 points in the fourth quarter and still in the game. And we just crapped the bed on so many levels. This is a bad football team. It's poorly coached offensively, defensively, special teams. I'm not saying we need to fire coordinators. I'm not saying we need to fire head coaches. But, like, when Nick Bosa is your worst player, and I'll say this again, and I think the film will support this, Nick Bosa was trash. That dude was terrible. Drake Jackson's always bad, but Nick Bosa was just as bad. One-on-one matchups you have to win as a defensive end. Nick Bosa won 0 one-on-one matchups, and he had a ridiculous amount. So I would argue the best players of the game were Isaiah Oliver, Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner. Like, those three guys stood out. Other people have to elevate their game. And, I mean, yeah, I get CMC scored 2 touchdowns. Kittle, the run late. Purdy was awesome. But as soon as you go one-dimensional, we have seen this 3 weeks in a row. When you go pass heavy and you, completely abandon the running game, Brock Purdy's going to make mistakes. I love Brock. I bought my son a Brock Purdy jersey. Like, it's not even like I'm against the dude, but when you go pass heavy, Brock's going to turn the ball over. He had 3 turnovers today. You don't win football games when your quarterback is responsible for 3 turnovers. Clayton, I'll take it to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said everything I think that needs to be said. It was really backbreaking to see not 1 but 2 passes in a row be intercepted. It was just a complete breakdown in the most critical moments of the entire game. And here we are a 3rd week in a row. And, I've got Google accounts saying here that we're overreacting. We're missing Debo. We're missing Trent Williams. But is it an overreaction, or is it just a situation where this team just needs to get to the bye week and sit on the couch for a week and figure out what the heck is going on? Because whatever we're doing right now, and I said this last week, and I'll say it again, it's not working. It just isn't working.
Yeah, and I see the comment from Bobo. Yeah, you let these guys come into your territory. 49ers have not lost 1 home game in a full calendar year, and you came out and laid an egg. You laid an egg. So the bye week is huge, but going into a bye week with 3 losses in a row,
no,
you're not in first place. Seattle Seahawks won today. They won late. They won a tough game. What have the 49ers done when it's a close game in the fourth quarter? They're 0-3. Whenever it's not, and so you in the NFL, you have to learn how to win close games. But Kyle Shanahan abandoned the running game, putting Elijah Mitchell in, putting so much faith into Nick Bosa. You paid that dude quarterback money to be a 3rd-string defensive end. Like, that's huge. If you walk away from this game without criticizing Nicholas Bosa, like, I don't know what you watched this week, last week, the week before. Because the second half of the Vikings game, the Vikings said, we're no longer double-teaming Nick Bosa. We're just going to block him one-on-one. And they crushed it. The entire game today, like, I have been screaming from the mountaintops that Nick Bosa is unbelievable, and he's getting double and triple teamed. Then in triple, like, he got no double team blocks. A couple chips. That dude laid an egg. Isaiah Oliver, who everybody keeps criticizing, was the MVP today. Now, we lost, so nobody gets those, like, whatever. But I feel like, I don't know. If you're upset at Steve Wilkes and not Nick Bosa, you didn't watch today's game. And I'm not saying Nick Bosa or Steve Wilkes is without criticism. That's what I'm saying at all. He deserves criticism. But Nick Bosa jumped on the, like, afterwards, whatever, interview and said, well, we don't rush 4 anymore, and that's our problem. We rushed 4 today, baby. So if you complained about Wilkes last week, you got your answer. And Nick Bosa laid a freaking egg, and you're paying that dude almost $40 million? Now, I love Nick Bosa. I'm not saying, like, oh, cut him, trade him, whatever else. But I truly feel whatever criticism you have should start and end with number 97. That dude looked like a third-string defensive end back-to-back weeks. That needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I think it does. I want to get to some more comments, John. And shout out to Bobo, just coming in really hot with the super chats. Appreciate you. He said, he's echoing what I was saying earlier, no point in that game did Bobo believe we were going to win. And yeah, I was right there with you, man. It was rough. It was a rough day. Speaking of rough, here's Brandon Paris. Thank you for the super chat. He said, Purdy looks rough. John, please say that the Niners are going to trade for someone big. Do you think they even should at this point? Is it worth it?
Yeah, no, the Niners should. You're 5-3. You're a half game out of first place, which is so sad to say. But no player makes a difference in this game. No player does.
No.
Your coordinators got to get their shit together, and that's Kyle Shanahan and Steve Wilkes. Your stars got to get their stuff together. Yeah, there was no Trent Williams. Yes, there was no Debo. But, like, come on, man. You got beat by a team that had their 2 best players and quarterback out in the Browns. Then you play the Vikings. They're missing 3 offensive linemen and their number 1 offensive receiver. They still win. So, yeah, make your excuses. I understand that. I'm diehard faithful. I'm not going anywhere. But that does not mean I'm going to sit here and say, oh, well, everything's well and good. And, yeah, I mean, financially, like, I'll just be real. I make more money when the Niners win. This is terrible. This is not good. So, like, when we talk about this, like, this hurts me financially with what I put on my, like, family's table. But that does not mean they get a pass.
Yeah. And speaking of showing up no matter what, we're going to be at more games.
Yeah, we'll be
in Jacksonville. We'll be in Jacksonville after the bye. We'll be there week 10. We'll be there for a couple more home games this year. Come out, support the team, because I really feel like right now they need something. I was hearing Who Day chants on the broadcast today, John. That's not acceptable at a 49ers home game, to hear Who Day chants at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, it was frustrating. The fans, like, there were some Bengals fans here, nothing more than normal. But again, we saw this same thing the last 3 weeks in a row. Any opportunity you had to shut the opposing fans out and get the 49ers fans' life, Kyle Shanahan, the defense, special teams ruined it. And so we keep seeing this. You allow them to stick around, bad things are going to happen. And you did nothing to steal the momentum of your whole home crowd. You had not one, but 2 Super Bowl winning team alumni here, and you came out and did that? Woo!
It's tough. Yeah.
That's rough, man.
It's not where we want to be. Niner Gang, thank you for the super chat. He echoes your sentiment, John. Where's Nick Bosa? He's been missing since the end of last year, and we need him. I feel like right now more than ever. And you have to wonder if it's kind of that same situation Debo was in with the contract situation last year, where he didn't really get training camp. He didn't get a chance, and he's working himself in to Nick Bosa's shape still, which I feel is very unfortunate to say the very least.
Yeah, he put himself before the team, and I want everybody to get paid. And congratulations, Nick Bosa. You got paid, man. You got paid. You're the highest paid defensive player. You're the 58th best defensive player so far this year. Like, I love Nick Bosa. I have Nick Bosa jerseys. My son has a Nick Bosa jersey. Like, I love him. But that does not mean he does not deserve criticism. Nick Bosa has been trash. Like, he's been awful. So, like, wherever you want to put the blame, if you don't start with Nick Bosa and Kyle Shanahan, you're doing this wrong. And you can talk about Steve Wilkes. Did the offense have 10 points in the fourth quarter halfway through? Did Nick Bosa do anything today? He had a half sack. Come on, man. One-on-one matchups the whole time. And I always say this. And this was back whenever I coached, freaking freshman, JV, varsity, high school football. If you get a one-on-one and you do not impact a play, that's on you. And Nick Bosa was one-on-one the whole game. They one-on-one him with tight ends, and he lost. That dude's laying eggs out there. I'm sorry, man. And so, does this mean you should fire Kyle Shanahan? No. Does this mean you should fire Steve Wilkes? No. Does this mean you should trade for another player? Yes. But I don't give a damn if you trade for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You don't turn these players on and the stars start showing up. It doesn't matter who you bring in here. So, yes, you need to bring in players, but also you got to step your game up. I'm sorry, man. You got to step it up. And so we're going to wrap it up here. They're being what they are. So
I got a couple more. I got a couple more we got to get to here.
We'll break down all the film, the49ersrush.com. We got all that stuff, but
yeah. I got a couple more super chats that we got to get to before we get out of here, John. And I appreciate everybody who's been commenting today. We will be looking through these comments. We'll be getting to you guys throughout the week. So don't worry if we didn't get to your comment today. It will be addressed
we got you.
At some point in the week, and we've got time to work on this team and where we're at right now. Because really, John, we're in that struggle phase that the Niners seem to get into at least once a year. Usually, the last couple of years has been the beginning of the season. Well, guess what, folks? It's right now. It's happening right now. And whether or not they can solve it will determine the rest of this season and beyond. But yes, let's get to these super chats here. Michael Pickle, shout out to you, my friend. He writes, "Hey, John, why can't we seem to stop the run? It's all these third downs. We can't get off the field. We had the chances, but we didn't convert and we didn't take advantage. We're really missing Trent Williams in the run game." And I echo that today. Jalen Moore got abused, and it was tough. It was tough to see. You got me still? Yeah, it looks like we're missing him. That's okay, honestly, for right now. We're just going to wrap it up here. I got one more that I got to get to here. Roberto, shout out to you, my friend. Wilkes' defensive scheme, it's been solved. And I'll say this, I didn't grow up playing football. I certainly haven't coached as long as John has, but I think he would say the same thing. It's tough. The wrinkles have been ironed out. It's really all out there on tape for other teams. They really need to do some serious soul searching during the bye week. And I think that us as fans, we've got to go through something similar as well. It's been a rough couple of weeks, and it's going to test your faith. But folks, we finish, and I said this last week, and it's still ironic. We finish every show this way. We have to stay faithful. Through the bye week, it's going to be tough. Sour taste in my mouth, I'm sure in all of your mouths as well. It's just not where we want to be right now. But this team is better than the sum of their parts. They aren't showing it right now. But if they work on some things, they're going to be all right. So I'll leave you with this, folks. We have to stay strong. And I implore you to all do that. We will see you very soon. And as always, stay strong, faithful.